Hey everybody, Jeff Bussick here, Chief Marketing Officer and Partner in Crime over here at GDW Inc. Really glad to have you today. We're mixing it up a little bit. We're doing a different time, different format, and I am going to actually shut up really quick, quicker than I normally do today, because we have a very special guest with us today that does have a hard stop at a specific time. So what I'm going to do is get out of the way and do what I do best, which is listen, and let our fearless leader, Mr. Alan Basinger, come on and introduce our guests. Take it away, bud.
Hey Jeff, how's it going, man?
Good.
All right, so today is an exciting day. We've tried to get special guests to come and talk to you guys on a regular basis. Pardon me. But today we have Jeff Cohen with Seller Labs, and for those of you that are not familiar with Seller Labs, they have a litany of products that have been, well, I've used them in my stable probably since they came out, starting with Feedback Genius and now moving up to one of my new favorite tools that I've fallen in love with, which is Scope. So we asked Jeff to come in today because he's better at the product than I am and talk to you guys about how they intended the product, how they've manufactured the product, what it's good for, and a few other special things. Mr. Cohen, you here?
Hey, Alan, how are you? Thanks for having me on again.
Good, appreciate it, man. We appreciate you coming in all the time and instructing us. We learn something new every time, bud.
Yeah, so we are going to focus today on Scope, and we're going to show Scope, and then what I love to do for your audience is give a little bonus to the people who come on to the webinar and show you guys a little bit of something else that we're working on. And Alan, this is always your favorite part because you're always kind of blown away by kind of the what's next at Seller Labs type of stuff. And so that's a good incentive for people to stick around to the end. We do have a special landing page for GDW. It's sellerlabs.com/GDW. Keep it really simple, right? So if you go to sellerlabs.com/GDW and you hit return, it's going to bring you into our page. This is Alan's page. It's going to give you kind of the special offer on all of our tools. And so you'll see that this is where we keep kind of our offers and everything that are specific for the GDW community. And if you ever kind of get lost and you're not really sure, this is a great place for you to come back to. So we have special offers in here. We're going to talk about Scope today. That's over here.
Remember, as always, though, GDW doesn't take affiliate fees. We never have, never will. So we've told Jeff, and we tell anybody we bring on that shows you guys some of the tools that they use, that basically any discounts, they pass it on to you guys. So it's
absolutely.
So they've been gracious enough to do this for us on a regular basis, and we want to continue to give it to you guys.
And so what I'm going to show you guys today is Scope. I'm going to show you kind of how I use Scope to optimize a product listing, and we'll kind of look at Scope in a couple of different ways. And so Scope, for those that are not aware, is a Chrome extension. So you see it up here, this little beaker in the top corner, Scope by Seller Labs. So it works on Google Chrome. I'm going to kind of make my screen a little bigger because I think I'm sharing the whole monitor here with you guys. Make sure you guys can all see that. That should make it nice and big for you guys. And what Scope is going to do is Scope is a tool that you can use either directly on the website of scope.sellerlabs.com, and I'll show you guys that, or you can use it in the Amazon website as a Chrome extension. Now, what's different about our extension is that our extension actually sits on the bottom of the page. It doesn't drop on the top, and you can kind of hide it. And so when you're on the product search results page, and you'll get a sense why I'm on Fruit Wedger and Core here in a second, we have all the information that you're used to seeing in some of the other competitive products. And so what you have is the binocular. That's your ability to what we call watch a product. Then you have the current rank, then you have the name, the brand, the category, the price, sales rank, and then we use sales rank to estimate the number of sales. This is monthly, the estimated number of revenue. And then we're going to look at the reviews, the average review, and the number of stars. And so this is where you can really do a lot of your product research. and really trying to analyze, is this a keyword or a product that's too competitive or is right in line with what you're looking for when you're looking to source products. We have all the averages up here on the top, and then we also have the ability for you to download all of this information right into a CSV. But I'm going to take you one step further, and for our example today, we're going to use this product right here. It's called a fruit core and wedger, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of what Scope does, because we go one step further onto the product detail page. And on the product detail page, when you open Scope up, Scope's going to give you a little bit more information, and you can see that one of the things that Scope is doing is it's giving you a price and fee calculator. And so if I happen to know that my unit cost is $2 on this product, I now can tell from my total cost, my Amazon commission, and my FBA fees that my total profit's $2.07. I also have what we call an item summary. So it's bringing in the sales rank, the review count, but now it's actually allowing me to break down my total number of sales into a sales by day. So it's taking my total number of sales and it's dividing it by 30. And then you can see down here, I have number of sales, estimated revenue, and estimated profit. So that's actually calculating based off of the numbers over here on the left to determine what my profitability is. So if I can drive my cost of goods down by $1, my profit goes up to $97. Now, one thing that we do that nobody else is doing is we bring the reverse ASIN data right in to the Scope application. And so this product right now, the fruit core and wedger, is actually ranking for 61 keywords. And this is the list of the keywords, all 61 of them, that this product is looking for. Now, what we do that's a little different than some of the competitors in the reverse ASIN field is that we don't try to estimate total number of search, because we believe that the estimated number of search doesn't really matter. It's the strength of the keyword that matters. And so what we do is we've created what we call a score, and it's a relative number between 1 and 100, with 100 being the best and 1 or 0 being the worst. And when you're looking at the relative score, that's going to tell you kind of what keywords are the most important. And if you understand Amazon and you understand how the algorithm works, when you create a product listing, and this is where the real value of Scope comes in. So this is my product and this is my listing, and we can all probably agree this is not a great listing, right? It's only got 2 images, it's got really weak bullet points, and it's got a pretty weak title. But what I'm telling Amazon is that I believe this is called a fruit core and wedger, and that is the most important keyword for my product. That's what I've determined. And so when I go to fruit core and wedger, I actually rank for this product because I've called it a fruit core and wedger, and therefore Amazon sees that as a value. But what I don't know is actually how valuable that keyword is. So when I look at the product and I look at the keywords, right, the data that we just had, what I can actually see is that the word apple slicer is the most powerful keyword of all the keywords that I'm ranking for. But I'm in 61st position, which means I'm on page 4 or 5. So what I want to do is I want to go look at my competitors. I want to go look at the apple slicer. And so now I'm actually on the page looking at my competitors in the top keyword that's here. And what I want to do is I want to basically start watching my top 10 competitors. So I'm gonna let's just do 5 for right now to keep it simple. And then what I want to do is I'm going to skip the sponsored ads, right? Because I don't really care about those. I want to go look in and actually start viewing my top, let's just do the top 2 competitors right now. This one, Prep Work by Progressive, and this Cathlon Easy Grip. These are my 2 competitors, and I'm going to use my competitors' listings to actually improve my listing, right? That's the goal of what I'm trying to do. And we're going to see how Scope helps you do that. I'm on a slow connection, so I'm going to kind of get these kind of going here for us so we can see this. Wow, okay, so remember I had 61 keywords. My competitor has 406 keywords. And so I'm going to use this information right here to optimize my listing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually download the CSV file, and I would go to my next competitor and I would download the CSV file. I just need to do this once for this demo. And I'm going to open this up and take a look at this information and see what we can do with it. So now you guys see, I'm going to close this so it doesn't get too confusing, but now you guys should see all of the information I just pulled in from Scope. And what I'm able to do with this, and so what I would do is I would actually download 5, 10 competitors listings. I would add them all into one spreadsheet, and I'm just going to show you this one time, and then you'll kind of see the gist of what to do with this. What I want to do is I don't really care about the ASIN at this point in time. I do care about the score and the estimated sales. So there's a lot that I can actually do with this data as I start to sort it and look at it in different ways. So I'm going to, let's see, I have a header listing. So I'm going to do this by score. I'm going to do this by largest to smallest. So what this is going to tell me by looking at this is that, now I actually have looked this word up, and this actually has nothing to do with an apple slicer, so I can't, which is why the estimated sales on this is 0. And so we can actually delete that because it's kind of an anomaly that comes into some of the data at times. But what I want to do is I want to look at this first one and say, okay, apple slicer, core, slicer, peeler, core, slicer, peeler. So right here, everything that really kind of sits, let's just call it, you know, the top 10, and I'm going to use these to rewrite my listing because these are the most powerful keywords that I want. And so I'd open up a notepad and I'd start working on my listing. And folks, this is just how it works, right? So I'm going to look here, I'm going to say apple slicer, core, peeler, fruit. Okay, so I know these are all keywords. Now I need to actually make this make sense, right? So I'm going to call it an apple slicer, fruit, core, and peeler, right? So now I'm actually making a title that makes sense. But if we remember back, I was just calling this a fruit corer and wedger before. So now I've just taken my top 5 keywords and I've worked them into my title to update my title to tell Amazon what I want to be doing with this product to make this product better. Then what I want to do is start looking at my next group of keywords and start finding other keywords that I want to start working into my bullet points. Right, so this is my new title. And now I don't have to repeat, but I want to call this I'm looking for a divider, a finger food, a cutter, a mandolin, a stainless steel. Now I want to make sure that I actually have one that's stainless steel. Pear, right? So I'm just looking 12, right? So now I want to start using these to say easily divide into 12 slices, creating finger food for your children, right? So now I'm actually creating bullet points that are specific to the keywords that I've just come up with from my competitor's listing, thin, right? So now I want to say easily divide into 12 thin slices Large apples. Cut large apples, pears, and other fruit into pieces. I don't know, making this up, right? Because I don't want to reuse it. So now I've got the word large into there. And so I want to start kind of working these different words that my competitor is listing. Splitter. Oh, I need to, easily divide. Okay, now how do I use the word splitter? So as I find words that I want to put, I add them to my list, and I start working my title into the different keywords that I'm looking to. I cannot spell the word splitter, huh? That I'm looking to build into this, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do in building my listing. But let's get to the real powerful part of this tool, right? Because this is all stuff that we've learned before. But the biggest problem that you have in an Amazon listing is your 5,000 keywords on the back end of your listing. And so if we do a little what I call Excel magic, and I have a video that we'll make available that will show you how to do this step by step. You can actually come into here and use this field called text to columns. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually split all of this into individual text words. And now what I need to do is I need to deduplicate it. And so I'm going to take my keywords, I'm going to deduplicate them, and I'm going to create all the characters that I need to give myself the 5,000 back-end keywords for my system. And what you'll see is that if you do this with all of your 5, 10 competitors, you easily get the 5,000 characters that you need. And the easiest way to do it is to, and I'll just kind of expedite this here by not going through it, is you add them all into one column, and then you do this button here, remove duplicates, and you see that it took 639 duplicates down to 173, and I now have 173 unique keywords that I want to add into my back-end listing. And I literally just start copying and pasting these back-end keywords into my back-end listings. And so, Alan, I don't think I need to go into the back-end listings and where to do that. I think people in your group should know where to do that, but I can show it if you feel it's necessary.
And actually, I did a whole video on that, how I use Scope and created the back-end keywords and put them into the back-end. So
yeah. And so what that's going to do is that's going to really fill your listing. And so we had just to give you an example, we had a customer of ours who was who had a product that was dead for 2 months. They went through this process of just optimizing keywords for the back-end listing, and they were able to overnight start generating 2 sales a day. And you say to yourself, wait, 2 sales a day, that's not that big of a deal? Well, I forgot to mention their product sells at an $85 per unit profit. And they're now starting to sell somewhere between $45 and $60 a month of a product that was totally dead, doing nothing more than optimizing their listing based on the data they got from Scope. The other great value of the Scope data is taking this same set of keywords and entering them as phrase matches or exact matches within your sponsored product ads. And so give me a second here, and I'm going to open this up on another screen, and then I'll share it with you guys. Since I'm logging into Seller Central for this, don't want to share my passwords just yet.
You sure? Come on.
And it's really simple to go into your sponsored product ads and enter all of these keywords as exact match. And what happens is that when you're originally kind of setting up your keywords and you're setting up your campaigns, you start running auto-targeted campaigns. And when you run auto-targeted campaigns, what happens is what happens with that is that you're getting a lot of Amazon guessing at the data that you want to run. And so what we've been able to do, and these are all keywords, these 121 keywords all came from my competitors' listing. And so you can see that, you know, my spend is really low because this is just a test account for us, but I'm doing it at a much better average cost of sale than what I was able to do through my targeted ads. And as an example of this, we had a customer who was running sponsored product ads for 60 days. They had spent about $400 on sponsored product ads, and they had generated about 6 sales. They started running scope data for sponsored product ads, and within 7 days, they generated, I think, 15 sales. And so what they were able to do in a very short period of time was 5x what they had done over a 60-day time period with four times less budget. And so the methodology of sponsored product ads is that you have to create these auto-targeted campaigns, and then you have to wait for the data within the auto-targeted campaign to kind of rise up, if you will, to get to a broad or a phrase match. Well, there's information that we know. We know that these phrases are driving sales because PrepWorks by Progressive would not be the #1 ranking product for Apple Slicer if they weren't driving sales for an Apple Slicer. So if you have a competitor who is ranking really well for a keyword, it's an automatic flag to you that that's a keyword you should be bidding on, and you don't need to go through the auto-targeting. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that when you run auto-targeting campaigns within Amazon, you actually get a lot of additional data that's data that you don't need. And within this data, within sponsored product ads, it's actually really hard to find because you have to actually download this report to get to that data. And that's why auto campaigns are very difficult for sellers to do and to run, because when they're doing them and they're running them, they have to download these spreadsheets, they have to analyze them, they have to manually convert their campaigns from this, and if you can bypass that whole process, you're able to go in and start driving you're able to go in and start driving a campaign that will be more successful faster and driving more revenue and profit for you. So I think I kind of went through it pretty quickly, and we can kind of open it up and see if there's any questions specific to scope. I guess one of the parts that I didn't show you guys was that all of this also sits on the back end of scope.sellerlabs.com, and so you don't have to actually do this only on Amazon. We actually track everything back. So here's that same PrepWorks, and you can see that we're tracking price history and sales rank and their rank over time, their reviews and history. We also are tracking their keywords, and so like here's a keyword we've been tracking. You can see we don't have a lot of data points on some of these keywords, but if we go into some of the bigger keywords, we'll actually start to see more data as you start watching more keywords. So here's a keyword we've been watching for a while, so you can see we've got, and so that's the value of watching within, is that you can actually start to track. And so if you are not tracking keywords, then if you are not watching keywords, the keywords don't get updated as often. If you are watching them, we're updating them daily. Any questions at this point in time before I kind of jump on to...
Let's take a look here and see what we got. I think we might have a couple. Why, yes, we sure do, sir. We have... Come on, slow computer, slow computer. Steve Hemney. Steve asks a great question. So when viewing the top 10 keywords in Excel, should you ignore all the entries with estimated sales of 0?
So the way that I describe it is estimated sales is a combination of your, and so let's just kind of show this so people know what we're talking about, right? So we're talking about the score and the estimated sales, and he's asking for these all the way down here that are estimated sales of 0. The score and the position are relative to the rank, and so what we are saying is that the number of people that are typing in the word thin cutter on Amazon are pretty low. And therefore, I don't think you should, when optimizing your listing, I personally, I want as many keywords to show up for my listing. I don't know if I'll find it, but we did one yesterday. I think it was like a jump rope, and we had like 6,000 keywords or something for that listing. Like, it's a vanity metric, but the more keywords that you're ranking for, the wider breadth that you have for long tail conversion of your product. And ultimately, that's what you want, is that if somebody's looking for a quick apple cutter, you want to rank page 1. And even though quick apple cutter might not ever drive you a sale, that one time that it does drive you a sale, you're going to be really happy that you added the word quick into your listing, because whether it be on the front end or the back end, adding the word quick is still logical to the conversion side, right? So you have to be thinking not just about the ranking side, but the conversion side. And it's logical for you to say, like, you know, a quick way to cut apples. That's a very logical way, and it's a feature benefit for a customer. And if somebody says, like, I want a quick apple cutter, you want them to find yours. So I don't ever discredit a keyword. I just might not give it as much value. And when I give it value, I'm talking about title, bullets, descriptions, or back-end keywords. I still might run a broad match for it on sponsored product ads, because there might be another keyword that I haven't even thought of that Amazon might be able to find for me that's around the word slice apples, you know, slice apples fast or something like that, that could drive a sale for me. And so ultimately, when you're looking at sponsored product ads and you're looking at optimization for rank, you really want as many long tail keywords as possible for you to potentially own more real estate if someone's looking for it. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, great answer, man. Am Samuel asks, is this only in the USA, or does it also work for Amazon Europe?
So right now, Scope is only for Amazon US.
Okay, great. Not a problem. Steve asked another question. He wanted to know if you guys have any plans of being able to use this offline. I think, Steve, I can probably get this one, Jeff. You could use this online. When you're online, grab the CSV and the spreadsheets, because then you have all the data that you need here off of those CSVs, and then you can do your work offline with those CSVs if that makes it easier. Mary.
And I've actually had some people. There is a way to actually do it with an Android extension. If you have Android, I think you can use Chrome extensions on Android now, but I don't think they work on iPhones.
Oh, nice.
I have had that question asked, and I did research that.
I got to try that myself on my phone. If that works out, that'd be great. Mary Maslaya, I messed up her last name. I'm sorry, Mary. Said that we're talking about using a lot of keywords in our listing, and she's been hearing that less is more with regards to keywords. This is counterintuitive, Mary, on my side, but that Amazon tracks clicks and buys based on keywords. So if you're using only targeted keywords, your product ranks in the search more quickly. Do you find this to be true?
So we have seen people who have literally made changes to their account. They have gone live, and they have seen success in what they've done kind of instantaneously. So it's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say that that you want to limit that. There is some thought that that keyword density is involved, and I think that's kind of what she's asking about is wrapped around the idea of keyword density, meaning that if I have less keywords on my page, I'm more likely to rank for the keywords that I do have. I still go back to the idea that if the keywords you're adding are descriptive to your product, then I don't know why you would want to limit yourself. So if you have to think about this balance between rank and conversion. And so if you are talking about an apple slicer and it can also cut a pear, then why would you not want to tell people that it can also cut a pear? That makes a lot of sense. If it doesn't cut a watermelon and you're using the word watermelon because you think you want to rank for the word watermelon, then that's a total waste of a keyword. So something that is logical to your customer's experience or to your product makes a ton of sense to add to your listing. Something that is just being added for the sake of adding does not. And so a lot of things within sponsored product ads are tied to your listing on Amazon. And so if you're not descriptive in your listing on Amazon, you're not going to show up for sponsored product ads. They're all kind of tied together. And so, you know, I had this conversation actually this morning with a seller. It was kind of like, do you go for the what we call the long tail keyword or the primary keyword, right? And so this is a great example. Apple slicer is a very competitive keyword, but fruit core and wedger is not. So when I'm first launching my product, I want to go after these keywords that are. I want to go after apple peeler or apple fruit slicer or fruit core. I want to go after some of these because they're going to be less competitive. There are not going to be as many people that are focused on them, and I want to use those to drive my sales to the bigger keywords that I ultimately want to own. So hopefully that helps.
And that lends to conversion, right? Because what you're looking for is higher conversion per click. But one of the things that I can say that Scope does very well is it helps you gather data. And one of the things that I've noticed when I do, because I do a lot of competitive research before I create my listings, I've actually shown these people how I will look at all my competitors and help me make a better listing and make sure I got the right keywords. And if you look at the highest selling listings and look at the keyword count and how many keywords those listings have versus the listings that don't sell as well, you'll notice that there is a pretty marked distinction between the number of keywords in a product that is really selling a lot. Like this one, and the one you're showing right now, $20,800 in revenue on an apple slicer. And you see
but to that same regard,
go look at one of the others. It isn't as good.
But to that same regard, it's also they're not keyword stuffing, right? So
no,
if we come back to apple slicer and we see this is a good example. This is a keyword stuff title. This is not.
Go click on there.
On this one?
Yeah, go ahead and look at that one now. Let's look at that one and compare.
Yeah, and so, you know, some people feel like ultimately this is, to me, is way too much. Like, who is ever going to durable BPA free food safe material? Like, that does not have to be in the title. You know, it does not have to be in the title.
People are searching that when they do a search.
Right.
Right.
And even like 3 stainless steel, that doesn't even make sense. 3 stainless steel and interchangeable blades. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
They have 3 different types of blades you can put in it. They didn't put it in English. They put it in keyword.
Right. Now, if this was me, I would take my title of Gourmet because this means nothing. I would say this is a 3-in-1 handle push cutter, mango apple slicer, and core with bonus French fry blade by Gourmet. That's what I would call it. Nobody knows who Gourmet is. Nobody's searching for Gourmet.
We agree on that.
I think they have a good product. I just think they have to make their title a little bit more attractive. They actually have a fairly good listing, right? This is following.
Photos are decent. Yeah.
I just don't know that like all the stuff in their title makes a ton of sense. They actually have a fairly. Yeah, they have a ton of keywords, but they also have a product that is more diverse, that cuts more fruit than what the apple slicer cuts, right? And they're also selling this thing for super cheap.
About the same price as the other one, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're trying to increase the value. I mean, they're doing what you should do, right? Like they're trying to be different than their competitor and offer more value for a similar price. And so do I want to pay $11.99 and have an apple slicer, or do I want to pay $11.94 and get an apple slicer, a mango slicer, and a French fry blade? Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I think I'll choose that one because it does a little bit more than what the other one does. And so that's a really good technique for somebody who's trying to be competitive in a very competitive product, and is
Probably
trying to
a newer
differentiate
seller.
themselves. What's that?
I said probably a newer seller launching a newer
Probably.
product. They probably don't have as much time in as the other one.
Yeah, I'd have to go into Keepa or something else to look
Yeah.
and see, but I would probably agree with that. Let's see. See if Scope has any history. Yeah, it has. This has probably shot up in the ranks pretty quickly in the
Yep.
fact that Scope has no history on the product. So even though it's an 8,000 rank, my guess is that if you went and looked at it in another application, we would find that it's a relatively new seller. But
All
like,
right,
here's a
Mark.
great example. If this thing, this is a great example, Alan, to answer that question. There is no way this thing can actually cut a pineapple. It's not big enough. So they should not include the word pineapple because they will get traffic for pineapple cutter, but they will not convert that traffic. Therefore,
this
it's a
is one stuffed listing.
yes.
They probably hired a VA to do it. This is probably one of those service-based.
And my guess is they probably have the word pineapple on the back end keywords because I don't see it. But if your product doesn't cut a pineapple, like who's going to fit a pineapple through there? Don't
That's
add
the
the word
old.
pineapple.
Remember Google AdWords? That was the thing with Google AdWords is you never wanted to put keywords that didn't relate because you drove traffic that you paid for and drove traffic to a listing to your product and nobody would buy it because they were looking to cut a pineapple, but they'd look at that and go, "That ain't a pineapple cutter."
Exactly.
So they got position 31 at a score of 87 on pineapple cutter, and that's worthless to them.
Yeah, I think that's page 2.
And I'd like to see it cut some tomatoes too, but hey, that's just me.
Better be really sharp. Better be really sharp. All right, we have any other questions?
Yeah, Mark Levin wants to know if there's a limit to how many products can be tracked.
Yeah, so with a base account that you get 100 watches, and a watch is either a product or a keyword. With the second level of account, you get 400. But what I like to tell people is that's just what we watch. So watching means that we're checking those on a daily basis. You can obviously tell we collect a lot of data in addition to just the keywords that we watch. And so, you know, there is no limit in the number of searches or the amount of data that you get. It's just the total number that you watch. And your watched items show up here within Scope under the watch list. And you can
Great,
see.
that was the next question about the web app.
Yeah, and so, and then what you can do within here is you can actually categorize these. So I want to call that an apple slicer, and then I want to look at like all of my apple slicers, and it'll bring all of my like products together into a folder.
Cool. Mary asks, are the keyword results based on searches on Amazon for the ASIN or the actual keywords used in the listing?
Yeah, so it's going. So when you're looking at, the keywords, it's all related to that ASIN. So when I look up this ASIN, I'm looking at the keywords that are specific to that particular ASIN. So this is all the rank and the position based on this particular ASIN.
Yeah, so this is true keyword data, not search volume data.
Correct.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's great. That is great. I told you guys before, this has become, I'm falling in love with Scope. It's becoming my new favorite tool. And it definitely helps me to manage and optimize listings. When you start getting more than 10 or 15, even that becomes a chore. But when you start getting a lot of listings, this really speeds things up. I use it every single day. I have it on my schedule to go in, use this, work on optimizing listings, work on creating new listings, and it has made my life a lot easier. And you've given me some good ideas, Jeff, because I have a couple of older products that need a little optimization, and you gave me a couple great ideas, so I think I'm going to be able to jump in after this webinar and attack it.
Yeah, let me share one more with you, because this was actually something that I've been preaching this from the stage for a really long time, and I'm surprised that it's really taken people this long to figure out. But I had a customer write me the other day. I met her at a trade show. We showed her scope. She went home, and she's a wholesaler, so she sells wholesale products. And she had a product that she had replenishment on. Meaning, for those that aren't aware, that meant that she could get more stock. And she was one of, I think, like 5 or 6 sellers of the product. And she was always kind of losing the buy box to one particular seller. So she didn't have a huge buy box share. And she decided to do this exact same process for one of her wholesale products. So we always think about doing this for products that we own through private label. But you can also do this for products that you don't own. You can really optimize any listing on Amazon, because Amazon wants the community to help improve all of the listings. So she actually went into her wholesale product and she created she filled in the 5,000 back-end keywords. Her product took off overnight. It took off to the point where within 3 days, her competitors sold out. And guess who got the buy box? She did. So by taking a little bit of extra effort and by improving a product that wasn't hers but that she had replenishment on, she helped her competitors make money, and hopefully they'll send her a nice thank you note, even though they won't know. And they're all sitting there going like, why did our sales take off? And they have no clue why. You have the ability to really affect any listing. And I've been in this business for a little over 3 years. The idea of filling in back-end keywords is not anything new, but it's still completely shocking to me as to how many sellers don't take the time to fill in back-end keywords. And Alan, how long does it take? 5 minutes, maybe 10? And
with your tool, not very long, but I think a lot of people are afraid of keywords. They really don't understand it. It's not their expertise, so they just ignore that piece.
So let me tell you what you get when you buy Scope. So I'll give a little bit of a sales pitch here, and then I'll give Jeff the nod that we can cut the recording, and I'll show you guys some bonus material so that Jeff kind of knows where the evergreen material lives. When you buy Scope, Scope is purchased on an annual plan. The plans start at $390 for 12 months access, unlimited to the tool. The only thing we limit is the number of products or keywords that you're watching. You can change those keywords at any point in time. You just get a total of either 100 or 400 of them. We're going to have a coupon for you that you guys can find at sellerlabs.com/GDW. That coupon is going to be for $50 off the annual price. And that coupon is not going to expire. I don't think that coupon's set to expire anytime soon. But that's kind of an ongoing coupon for the GDW community. Because of our relationship with Alan and because he does not take affiliate fees. You also get a 7-day return policy. So a lot of people say to us, oh, well, I want to know what Scope is. How do I use it before I pay for it? You get 7 days to use Scope. If you don't like it or you don't feel that there's value there, you're welcome to ask for a refund. I think that if you spend a little bit of time using Scope, you'll easily find more than $390 worth of value. And if you've got more products coming in this year, we think you will. But Seller Labs is a stand-up company, and we want to stand behind our products. So if you're not happy, we do offer that as a 7-day return. In addition to that, you get access to our customer service. I do believe we have We have an email address for people that are in one of your masterminds, and so they can get that from Jeff or Alan. And then we have, the general support for the rest of the people within your community, support at Seller Labs. Our team will help you in any way that we can. You also get, when you purchase the application, we do give you step-by-step videos on how to do all of the things that we talked about today. So you don't have to say to yourself, oh my God, I'm never going to remember how to find the deduplicate button on Excel. We do walk you through step-by-step. Each of the videos are like 4 to 6 minutes long, so they don't take you that long. We will show you how to improve your back-end listings. We will show you how to improve your product keywords. We will show you how to improve your sponsored product ads, and we will show you how the general tool works. So we will provide you those videos. And so those are kind of the bonus offer, if you will, if you buy today, yeah. So hopefully that's enough to convince you to give it a try, or give you a little bit more information to make it something that you want to think about.
Excellent.
Cool. So you want to see something new and cool?
Do we want to see something new and cool? Always, man. Always.
All right. Well, let's have people put in the chat box. If you guys want to see something new and cool, say yes in the chat box so we can kind of see that you guys are still here and want to see this. So I think the last time I showed you guys Quantify, right? Our data analytics tool.
Yes, sir. I think you did.
All right. So going live this week, and if members of your community want to be part of the early sign-up beta, actually we're not calling it beta because it's not really in beta, it's just the early sign-up period. We're going to limit registration on this so that we roll people out into this on time. We have a new product. It's called Ignite. And as Alan knows, we've been pretty busy here at Seller Labs because we've been rolling out products this year on a regular basis. Ignite is sponsored product ad management. And what it's going to do is a lot of the stuff that we talked about that sponsored product ads needs to do, it integrates in with Scope, so you don't have to actually cut and paste and create campaigns. It uses decision making to make recommendations for the management of your campaigns, and it brings in a lot of analytical data for you to see how your pricing works. And so here are the prices for Scope, and the way that we work Scope is what we call a managed campaign. And so you can run as many campaigns on sponsored product ads as you want. As you integrate them over to be managed campaigns on Ignite, we charge you for that. And so a managed campaign means that our system is making intelligent decisions for you. So let me kind of show you this. This is one of our test accounts. And you look at this initial revenue and you say, okay, so he spent $214, generated $700 in revenue, 30% ACost. That's really high, right? We all kind of agree to that. I'm going to change this to the last 7 days and reapply this.
You're probably losing money there.
Yeah. And so now you can see, okay, last 7 days, my costs have been going really bad. So I'm going to look here into Ignite. And so when you come into Ignite, you'll see over here, I'm on the left, we have Ignite campaigns and we have manual campaigns. And so manual campaigns are all the campaigns that you're running on your own sponsored products, and Ignite campaigns are runs that you're running on ours. Now, all of our stuff runs through Amazon's system. And so you'll see that within the Ignite campaigns, I have the manual campaign and I have the ladder campaign. And so this is the auto-targeted campaign that you would typically run for a sponsored product listing. And you can see that at some point in time I shut it off. It was actually on the 21st. And the reason why I shut it off was because my ACost for this was really high. And so you can see down here at the bottom that I generated 187,000 impressions. I was paying 53 cents per click, and I had an advertising cost of sale of 81%. It was costing me $13.76 per conversion to convert my traffic over this time period of February. And this was me doing a normal campaign where I just went into Amazon and I ran an auto-targeted campaign. It connected to my product, I entered a bid, and then typically what happens is within Amazon is you get to this point right here, right? And this is where Amazon stops. They've got this thing called targeting auto. It's running a whole bunch of stuff on the background, but you don't get a lot of insight into what's actually happening in your auto-targeted campaigns. You then have to download a report, and you have to analyze that data, and then you have to make adjustments and changes and all this stuff. We actually pull in all of that data right into our system. So this is all the information you would get by downloading that report. So I can now come in here and I can look at, so last impression is telling me the last time I actually ran that ad. So you can see I stopped all these on the 21st. Cost is how much I spent. So if I want to, I can look at everything. So this is cost from highest to lowest. I can say that I want a minimum cost of $1. I want a minimum impression of 100. And I want to see what that looks like. And so I'm going to click the filter button, and I'm going to start looking at these search terms. So these are all my search terms that cost me more than $1 and had more than 100 impressions. And I can see which ones I've been generating clicks, so maybe I want to actually change this to a minimum of 1 click, and I want to relook at this. Now I'm not running these campaigns anymore because I just really got sick of this and I was really unhappy, but you can tell that I was spending a lot of money and none of these were converting. So it's actually not a trampoline ladder. That's not what the product is. So I can actually come into here and I can set this as a negative exact keyword, set this as a negative phrase, or turn this into an exact match. And so what I want to do is I'm going to do a bulk action, and I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to set them as a phrase match negative. Now both of these terms in my auto-targeted campaign have been turned to negative, which means that I'm no longer bidding on those terms. And so Alan's probably jumping out of his head right now because he realizes that I just took a whole manual process that you had to do with spreadsheets, and all of this goes right into my sponsored product ads. Now, Alan, ready for me to go further?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to come back into here, and I'm going to come into my manual campaign. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you guys a really cool way to create a campaign. And I've already got this campaign in here, but I'm going to create this campaign again. So when you create a campaign, you actually see your products. And so I'm going to click on my product, and I'm going to add it. And so now you see it's over here. I'm going to click Next.
The beauty of a live demo.
Yep. Well, it's just new for me. It's new for me. I haven't gone through all of this before. Why is it not? What am I doing wrong? I just went through this morning with the team. Okay. Well, this is what if you sign up, this is what you got to deal with because it is an early product, and in doing so, we are going to run into some small little bugs like that. But what I wanted to show you guys, and I'll show you through a different way, is that what we've done within our manual campaign. So this is my manual campaign, and I can actually see, like, here's my advertising cost. Here's my sponsored products sold through sponsored products. Here's my organic sales. So I'm able to see this. I'm able to create suggestions based on a confidence and an importance, and that's going to, I don't have any suggestions currently, but that's going to give me my suggestions. And then within my campaign, what I can do, I'm going to dig into I'm going to create a new, let's see if it lets me do this. So give it a name, give it a default bid, save the ad group, and go back to my ad group. Here's my test that I just created. Oh, of course. All right. Something's clearly broken on the campaign creation side of this. So let's go into my current campaign. I'm being told that Amazon has a whole cluster of servers that is down right now, which is impacting the performance of some of our tools. So I get to blame it on Amazon. Yay me. So let's see if this works for me. I'm going into one that I currently have, and these are my keywords. Well, what I can do, Alan, is I can actually go into Add Keyword, and it's actually tied into Scope, and being tied into Scope allows me to add the keywords right into my system. Yeah, something's definitely not working right.
So
So
I don't have to go in and download that CSV and manually.
no, if you came to the next page, which it doesn't want to pull up, what it's going to actually do is it's going to show you the ability to add. Oh, here we go. Okay, so adding keywords, I can cut and paste them. I can suggest them from Scope, or I can suggest them from a competitor's ASIN. So if I pull up my competitor's ASIN, so let's pull up that that really funky one.
That's
I'm
not a
learning.
good one. The other one that had 400.
I'm doing the other one because I've never done that one before, and I've done the progressive one before, so I actually think I'll get new keywords.
Cool.
So this is now giving me new keywords based on that, and I can choose if I want them to be broad, phrase, or exact. And I can say like, okay, I don't have a mango, so I don't want to add that one. I don't know what a peach pitcher is, so I don't want to add that one. See how many keywords I've added? Dial a slice apple slicer. These are funny. Tomato mozzarella slicer. I don't think that I'm a tomato mozzarella slicer, so I'm going to do that. And so I can do this, and then all I do, and I'm not going to do it now because it's going to screw up my listing and I'm not prepared, but I hit add selected keywords, and bam, all these are in mine, and I can actually, they're going to start bidding at my default bid, or I can actually set a bid for each of these at an individual keyword level if I don't want to do that. So, and then I come back into Ignite, let that run for 3-4 days, let your impression and your sales data come in, maybe 5 to 7, and I'm going to start to get suggestions on the keywords telling me what I should change and what I should add and what I should get rid of. And so what Ignite's going to do is really give you the ability to start diving into some of the deeper data that you have within sponsored product ads, allowing you to really manage your campaigns in a more simplistic manner, taking less of your time, dealing with less spreadsheets and things like that. And so Ignite is currently available. I am going to ask Tyler to get a promo on your site for how about first month of Ignite for $1. Yeah, it'll be 99% off, so you can pick any plan that you want, and it'll be 99% off for your first month. And we'll get that added onto the sellerlabs.com/GDW. And anyone who wants to, give one of our new tools a whirl, all we ask is that if you have any questions, complaints, or comments, you don't post them for the world to see. You let us know and give us a chance to address them and understand that you're working with a new technology.
Man, definitely. I have to hurry up and do it. Hold on. I'll pause for a minute. No, no. I mean, managing that. I mean, there are tools that report, but there aren't that many tools that not only report but also give you the ability to make changes based upon the information and give you suggestions for ways to change it and make it better. How long have you guys had this?
So we've been in beta for about 4 weeks now. We've been working with some pretty large PPC players in the space who have been giving us a lot of information about methodology and strategy for PPC, which has allowed us to kind of build out a lot of the campaign creation and system for this. You'll actually find, I want to be totally honest with your audience since you guys are kind of getting an early look at this. You'll actually find that like the documentation on this is actually pretty weak right now. So you're going to see a lot more of our own kind of knowledge base being built and videos coming out about this over the next couple of weeks. This is definitely an early stage product, but getting in early is always fun because when you get in early, you usually get a pretty good deal and you get the ability to kind of be involved in the product creation and how the product's kind of moving forward. So be happy to give your audience that.
And if it helps you save a bunch of money by lowering your ACOS, it's a win-win-win.
Whoever. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Alan, I missed the end of that.
No, I said if it helps you lower your ACOS, it's a win-win-win. Everybody wins. So
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the success of PPC is you watching your campaign. And so if you have a tool that allows you to watch that campaign easier, or is beginning to make suggestions to you to help you get rid of keywords that you shouldn't be bidding on, increasing keywords that you should be bidding on, and stuff like that, you really have an ability to drive sales and opportunity for your product.
You know, definitely. I've seen I mean, I've done it myself, but I've also seen way too many people eat up all the profit that they would be making by poor pay-per-click campaigns. It's just
and a lot of the strategy in the past was that you needed to use pay-per-click campaigns to generate the content that you need to then create your product listing. And so you don't have to do that anymore because Scope gives you all that data, and then you can actually use the data from Scope, which is more analytical. You can now use that data to actually drive your PPC campaigns, as opposed to the reverse, which was this process of 2 to 3 weeks of running PPC campaigns to get the data, to then analyze it, to then break it down, to then optimize it, to then start making money off of it. And you can bypass that whole process now.
Nice. Definitely nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I don't know about other people, but that's...
Well, I guess let's ask the question. Is this a tool, is Ignite a tool that you could see yourself using? Maybe not right away, but is this a tool that as you're getting into sponsored product ads, is this a tool that you could see yourself using in some way, shape, or form? So just answering the questions yes or no.
We're getting lots and lots and lots of yeses.
That's great. Thank you for the feedback. We really appreciate it. I'd also like to know in the questions, in the question box, on a scale of 1 to 5, how useful was this webinar for you? 5 being the most useful webinar you've ever attended in your life, 1 being this was the biggest waste of my time. And I'm okay with 3 and 4s, but hopefully no 1s and 2s.
Hey, you cannot ask for feedback in response for a webinar. That's against terms of service.
Hey, I figure I have to practice what I preach. It's funny. I feel like I have to remind people that we still run Feedback Genius, right? Because we talk about so many other tools now that we need to remind people that we still run Feedback Genius and how to solicit product reviews as well. But I appreciate you having me on. I've got a couple more minutes if there was another question or two that we didn't have a chance to get to, and be happy to help serve your audience.
Definitely appreciate it, Jeff, as always. And Feedback Genius was probably the first autoresponder that helped people automate the task of asking for and getting reviews and feedback. I know I've had it since it pretty much came out, and I haven't jumped off the Seller Labs train because the dang thing just works. And Seller Labs, unlike a lot of companies, is a real application development company. So they put the time and effort in improving and continuing to improve and make the products better, make our lives better, and I think they'll be around for a long time. So I like to put my trust in companies like that for sure. Mary says if she has Scope on her desktop, can she also install it on her laptop, or is the app only for one computer?
No, you can have it on more than one.
It's simultaneous logins, right?
It's simultaneous login. The biggest thing is that your Scope login is also tied to your other Seller Labs accounts, so you don't want to share that login with other people, because if you do, they will have access to your other Seller Labs stuff.
Single sign-on, I love it. I have it on all of my PCs, Mary, just to let you know. So, and I have the Chrome app installed on everything as well. You just have to log in from each PC to get the rest of the data. So it's not a big deal. But Jeff, as always, man, I appreciate your time. I know you are busy and you have a lot of things happening. We can't. They're already asking when you're going to put Ignite on this on the URL, so they're ready to go.
They're all waiting for Ignite to get on the URL.
I'm ready for it too. So hey,
Yeah. How about check back within the hour?
There you go. Great. We appreciate it very much. So thank you.
Tyler's going to get it on the website like in the hour, but he's saying that with the Amazon cluster server issue, which is an Amazon thing, not a Seller Labs thing, that the sign up might not work. So if you go there and you try to sign up and it doesn't work, just understand that it's not a Seller Labs issue. You might just have to wait a little bit until...
Yeah, because it integrates into your Amazon account, right?
Yeah, no, it's a whole Amazon... No, this is literally an Amazon AWS has like a whole like cluster down right now, which means like... That typically means that like a quarter of the internet is broken.
That's happening too frequently. I don't know what's up with that.
Hey man, it's our new reality.
There you go. Tell Tyler thanks, man. We appreciate his help too.
Thank you.
Anyway, anybody else got any more questions other than that, guys? I think I'm going to let Jeff go because he is kind of on a hard timeline, and we want to let him move on. We appreciate your time today. As always, your time is valuable. It's the one thing that you cannot buy back. And hopefully you got value, but based on what you guys said, you did get good value. I look forward to talking to you guys again the next webinar next week.